The tune has to be restarted.
So hard, makes me say, oh my Lord, thank you for blessing me with a life to ride. You like it's good, when you know you're down. See the moment from the open no. It's such a business, you can't touch it. I told you, boy, you can't touch this. Yeah, that's how we living again. You can't touch this. Look in my eyes, man, you can't touch this. Let me bust this on the lyrics. Fresh the rules and bands, you got it like that. Now you know you want to dance. Out of your seat and get a fire girl in case this beat was rolling. Hold on, put a little bit of the noise going on like that. Like that. Hold on, let's go. It's your turn, and this is something you can't touch. Yo, I told you, you can't touch this. Why you standing there, man? You can't touch this. Yo, sound the bell. School is in. You can't touch this. Give me a song or rhythm. Make no sense. That's what I'm feeling now. They know. You talk about the hammer. You talk about shoulders, house, and tight. Singles are swing so fast. They go back on tape. Two words. What's going to take? 92 words that starts. Legit. Either work hard or you might as well quit. That's the word.
Right. I think that's enough. I mean, any excuse to play that song again is
absolutely, man.
It's definitely a must. I don't know if anybody saw us sneak it into the Little Hulu video as well a few days ago, but that had to be. That was a great video actually. I want to see more of Lil Hulu. So, any suggestions of how we can use Lil Hulu a bit more? Maybe we can make Lil Hulu like an NPC that just goes around and terrorizes the neighborhood in the rabbit hole. That'd be pretty cool. But all right, cool, good stuff. Like I mentioned on the previous stages, that I accidentally created team. I wasn't supposed to do that, but I've learned a lesson.
Little test stages.
Yeah, Rama time. We normally do this at Twitter Spaces. Really wanted to have a deep session today, specifically to cover Orange Paper updates, website update, feedback, Alpha 1.5 launch, when that's coming out, and a Zuckbot contract migration. And, we can have a more open session on Twitter for the next one, but definitely there's a lot to cover. Yesterday we had an impromptu session on VC. I think that was recorded, in which case if it was, that should be out there somewhere on Discord. Ask Aches if you're trying to get hold of that. Great session, lots to reflect on. And, discussions have already been happening internally, and you've all actually helped kind of push. We're always interested. We always say, this is a community-first project. We a lot of power as part of the community. We listen, we take action, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to continue to do, and we're going to continue to show you how your voices are heard, and, essentially you can, and your influence as a community and part of the team, and what changes come of it. So, yesterday we had a great session discussing the Orange Paper, of which, there's some new constructs in there, specifically around the token raise side of things. And, we want to be completely transparent with everybody and, definitely let you know what's happening in that space, how the rounds are structured, and what's definitely to come. So I want to touch on that first off. So some of the points that we want to kind of go through in terms of this. And again, this is an open session. I want any of you who are comfortable jumping in at any point, either with questions, challenges, opinions, feedback, do it, because, we're here right now to issue communications, receive feedback, and present it back to the wider team, and work out, way forward for anything that, you don't feel comfortable with, or you definitely want to kind of influence in a certain direction. So, that's the power we've said you've always got, and so definitely kind of help us along this journey. So everything discussed today, we'll answer what we can. Note any feedback, and we'll present that back to the team, and we'll say, what are the actions we've taken? Is there any changes, if any, have been made? And what's the kind of outcome of the session? So I need you guys and gals and rabbits to definitely get involved and have some voice time with us. So things around. Let's start with the Orange Paper update. It has had a update since the last version, which was issued probably around about a year ago. So, there are some fundamental things that have changed in respects to token distribution. So I want to cover that first. There will be another update to paper based on the discussions we have to date, and there will be another update to the orange paper probably about 6 to 8 weeks before token launch, which will contain a little bit more detail around kind of gameplay mechanics, token integration into the game. Not expecting anything fundamental to change by then, but we are on a journey here. We're going through the process with you all, and we definitely want to take your feedback on board. So points to cover, specifically today: token rounds, strategic, private, and public, and how that's all kind of come about and what the status is. Definitely another point that was raised yesterday is around kind of vesting on strategic round. What's kind of a fair value on token, requirements for game and utility, play and earn rewards, which we're not calling play and earn rewards anymore. We're calling it just community rewards and in-game rewards. That has had a reduction from around 40% to around 25%. I'm going to talk about that and how that doesn't really fundamentally change much, given the system that we've got in place with the Hooli Treasury, and all funds from anything being collected in game going to the Hooli Treasury, which can also then top up any community rewards accordingly, if that's the direction as a community we want to go. Talk about how if any affects to holders rewards, which there isn't. There's no change to any holders rewards as it stands in comparison to the previous document, and now still 2% on claims and still 15% on staking. And then another thing that was discussed yesterday, a few community members mentioned it, and I've definitely seen some chatter around it, is whether there's going to be ability for there to be a community token sale, and that was a suggestion. So I want to explore that with you all as well today. And like I said, I want input. I don't want to be the only one speaking here. This is an opportunity for you back and us to collate feedback and share it with the team. So everything here is going to be noted, and then we'll let you know what actions are being taken. All right, so feedback so far based on the session yesterday, discussions that have happened since, in the chats, in the DMs, with certain partners and with the team. So one of the key things is there is a sense that the community want to participate in a whitelisted pre-sale before launch. At a favorable price of the token. Open to discuss that. Definitely want somebody to jump up and kind of hash that out with us, and what you feel is a play. What you feel as a community is a reasonable percentage, and what you feel as a community you think is fair in terms of participating in a whitelisted sale. Whether it be a vesting schedule, whether it be a particular price, that's open for discussion, right? What I'm saying is here, I want to start discussion. I want to spur discussion. I'm not saying anything that we discussed today is going to definitely 150% happen, but it's a means by which we can influence things, and that's what we need to do. Want to definitely talk about the vesting schedule, as I mentioned. Some of you thought it was way too favorable for investors and not the community. So I want to delve deeper into your thoughts around that. And generally, there's always two sides to look at, vesting schedules. Whether the most of the times we're specifically in place to, protect early stage tokens from, what is assumed as partners being able to participate and then straight away don't. And often they're in place to, essentially provide an inflated value on the token on what might be a very minimal amount in circulation, but essentially sets a high FDV, which isn't necessarily a fair reflection on value of the token. It's essentially, you basing the value of the token on a very small amount in circulation. But when furthermore come in circulation, you often see that the price just continues to fall. So there's two ways to look at that, but I definitely want to get your thoughts there. And play and earn rewards, having taken a substantial around about 15% change. I want to understand what that means and what's in there to also support that. And then there was a lot of conversation about the private round being priced too low at 35 mil market cap, and suggestions that it should be higher. We've already taken some of that into account, and and we can talk about what supports that. So let's start with the initial token round. So the initial strategic round, which was used to bring on, you know, partners with influence, partners with strong networks, partners who, you know, have a lot of knowledge capital and can really help us on this journey with not only the token, with the game, and actually getting it out to market and ensuring that we've got various lessons learned, you know, as part of this. Because, you know, a lot of these partners have been involved in other crypto investments, they've been involved in other you know, Web3 game investments, and just other investments generally in the space. So they have a lot of lessons learned in terms of, you know, what worked well, what hasn't, you know, how to ensure you have a more sustainable token, you know, what happened in the days of, you know, Axie Infinity, what are the lessons learned, what can we do better than that. So there's a lot of knowledge capital there, and that's a really important key part of this. So the token round was done last year. It started even before S-Carrot staking started, and pretty much before, I can't remember exactly the timeline, but probably around the same time, if not before, the orange paper was officially launched to the community. I just need to check on that. So the pricing of that was based on where we were at the time, you know, a lead wanting to take the round, what the market was dictating in terms of crypto generally, and, you know, like I said, where we were at the time with the project. So individuals on that round are essentially early investors that are also taking a position and a certain amount of risk on what we're doing. You know, we believe the round was priced at a 25 mil market cap, and, you know, any comparables you'd look at would probably support that too. So this is essentially pretty much the same as individuals being involved in the whitelist of a My Pet Hooligan NFT sale at 0.08 ETH. It's pretty much very similar to that, and, you know, I'm hoping to take challenges on that, but that's at which stage it came out early last year, and, you know, we've been working on closing that out since, and that is closed. So what I want you to understand here is that with any round pricing for any token on a pre-sale or investor round, that isn't necessarily the price that the market dictates when the token comes out. So you know, I'm definitely seeing a lot of chatter within the community of, you know, I've managed to accrue 3,000 staked hooligans against my hooligan. Does that mean that each of my carrots is worth 0.025 cents or 2.5 cents or 3.5 cents? No, that's not what it means. We don't know what the price of the actual carrot token is going to be until it comes out to market, and what the market determines it to be. Now, the only guideline, you know, I can give here is that token rounds, depending on the point in time of the token round being issued, will be based on a price, with the first in being the cheapest. And as we kind of grow the round, it getting more expensive until we hit public launch, and then we see where the market takes us. The market currently actually has a price essentially on the carrot token. So if you look at the difference between a hooligan with no stake test carrots on floor and probably a hooligan with floor a flawed hooligan with you know, some S carrots. Let's say it's got the max S carrots, getting 10 carrots a day for 365 days, assuming a year. So, you know, essentially have 3,650 carrots. That right now they're selling at a premium of around probably what would equate to 0.1, so 10 cents to 15 cents per carrot. That's what the market currently determines, that is determining the price of carrots is worth as S carrots before we've actually even entered token generation event. So what I'd say is just be careful when, you know, anybody's kind of discussing the price of carrots based on, you know, strategic pre-sale rounds, because that's not what determines the price of carrots. You know, if we look at comparables, you know, let's look at a few comparables. I'm not saying they're exact comparables, but off the top of my head, you know, Sandbox currently sitting at around a $2 billion FDV, so fully diluted value of the token. Currently, I don't no disrespect Sandbox here, but I don't know if they've got many daily active users. Last chart I saw was probably around 100 to 200 daily active users or wallets. Illuvium is currently sitting at around $600 million market cap. Their initial round was priced at around a $10 million market cap, and their second round was priced at around a $30 million market cap, and now they're at $600 million market cap. And at the peaks of the bull run, they were definitely in the billions. ApeCoin, again, that's at a $4 billion market cap right now. I don't know the specifics around any of the initial rounds they did. I know they definitely did do a round from what I recall, which brought in a considerable amount of money. And Axie, I believe, is around 2.4 billion right now, and that peak was, definitely over 20 to $30 billion market cap. And that their kind of pre-sale was a pretty low valuation as well. So what I want you to just all understand is that again, the private and the initial investor rounds do not determine what the price is when the token launches. It can considerably vary from there, but there is an indication of what the Carrot token is seen to currently be worth based on the NFT trading that's happening and where the market is placing the value on hooligans without carrots and hooligans with carrots. I hope that makes sense so far. So that's why we're at a $25 million market cap on the initial round, which started last year. Essentially, a very similar construct to you all who are very early in the project being able to buy whitelist NFTs for 0.08 ETH, which is what we launched them at. So we believe that's fair. We believe it's similar to comparables, if not better. So that's an extremely good launching point for the token as well. And there was great interest in it, so we're in a great position in terms of that. The private round, which we just started, initially that was priced at around, and that's just started this quarter. So there was initial discussions around pricing that at 0.35, which would be a 0.035, a $35 million market cap. Based on some of the discussions yesterday, based on some discussions with the partners since, and also really looking at how the market currently values the Carrot token, essentially being at around 10 cents to 15 cents. I think it is fair and a fair suggestion for the community that that should be looked at being increased to around 0.05, which would give it a $50 million market cap. So that's something we've tabled, and something that we're confident we can reflect, and we're going to get back to you completely on that. But that's one bit of feedback that we took yesterday, and we're already looking into, and generally the thoughts are that it might have been priced a bit too low, and we can look to see what we can do in terms of increasing it and how the market supports that. But we are extremely confident in our products. We're extremely confident in the team. We're extremely confident in the partners that are around us, and extremely confident in the partners that will help us push this out. And like in the majority of cases, a lot of the partners, a lot of people involved in My Pet Hooligan with us that are also involved in other projects. So, all the ones that you hear about are aware of in kind of gaming and Web3. Feel that we've got one of the strongest products out there, and we're not just saying that to kind of boost ourselves up. We take that as a compliment, but it doesn't deter us from still giving it everything we've got to ensure. We don't sit here and think, we've got the best products out there, we're the best ever. We think, we still see ourselves as underdogs. We still see ourselves as wanting to continually prove ourselves and be bigger and better than everybody else. And that's a continuing driving factor that is inside of us, and it is fueling what we're doing, supported by the community. So, we definitely feel we're in a good position with everything, and, we definitely feel should the market support it, we can go out at a higher valuation on the private round. Again, that doesn't mean that when it comes to token generation, that's what the carrots are going to be worth. That is what the market will determine, and you all being participants will help determine that as well. So I just want everybody to remember that these are essentially pre-sale rounds for investors before token launch. So remember that. I've talked about what the market currently supports, and I think it's absolutely a great position to be in pre-token launch. And the price of the pre-token rounds, the price at what the current market supports will ultimately determine and influence what any public sale, should we go down that route, prices, whether we go on a launchpad or a liquidity LBP liquidity bootstrapping process, and essentially sets a baseline for where the token can go from there. So I hope that really kind of explains the round pricing of the two rounds, and also that we have taken on board the feedback, and we are looking to make a change in the private round pricing as well. In terms of something else I want to cover, in terms of the token round and why we've done it, is I discussed this a lot yesterday. To develop what we're developing costs a lot of money. Like, game development is a very expensive and serious business, and the money brought in from NFT sales and secondary sales is not enough to support the development of our vision for the game, and actually getting a game out to marketing and making sure it is actually a solid process. So you have to bring in investment. That's similar process for most startups. Consider this project essentially like a startup, even though the studio has been around for a while. It is the case, and it's also the case of projects that are responsible and really have a long-term vision and plan to develop products. Now, we're not to be considered the same as a degen PFP project that essentially has got a war chest of funds based on primary and secondary sales, and doesn't have to produce any products, but just maintain a community around token airdrops, not token airdrops, but NFT airdrops and PFPs and just community vibes and events. Right, we're in a completely different situation. We're in a completely different league. We have a completely different vision and a grander vision. So we definitely need to bring in additional investment to support what we're doing. Most of the money, not most of, all the money that's been brought in from NFT sales and secondary has already been spent, as well as investment that we've brought into. So part of doing a raise on tokens and equity is to ensure that we as a studio and projects have the runway to deliver our vision, to deliver against our goals, and to meet the milestones that we need to meet as part of this project. So that's essentially the reason why we've done that. And that's not dissimilar to how most tokens go, and how most essentially startups go when developing and delivering products. So hope that's understood as well. I am looking for any hands up at any point. NFTs. I'm gonna invite you.
NFTs, yeah.
I'm gonna pause for a second there, because I want to let NFTs talk, and I just want to. I've said a lot there, and I want you to reflect on it, and I want to understand that you've understood what I'm saying too. So I want to be clear that I've articulated those points correctly. NFTs. I'm taking a break, but I think I've discussed a bit around the token round pricing, potentially adjusting the private round, and also what not being is calculating what the current value of the token is based on the token rounds, because that's not the way to do it. The other thing that I do want to touch on next as part of this particular item for discussion is whether the community strongly feel they want to get involved in a community sale, and what you feel that should look like for you all. Again, I'm not promising anything, but I'll definitely take that feedback on board. I kind of like the idea of it personally. I don't think it's a bad thing, and I think it's an additional opportunity for holders to have some of the value that they feel others are getting as well. NFTs. Before we go into that, feel free to talk, brother.
All right. Thanks very much. Okay, so I suppose there was a lot of backlash yesterday. Initially, I think you're hot micing there, Skyhopper.
Yeah, I mean, not really backlash, just more so some communication around the changes and what it means mainly, and some opinions, some strong opinions, particularly around one particular subject matter that I'll come on to next, which was
Sure.
more around the vesting schedule. But I don't think anything other than what I've already discussed fundamentally, but more so things we can hash out together, feedback on, and see what we can influence for change.
Yeah. So I wasn't too surprised with what was released yesterday. Sorry, you are hot micing Skyhopper.
Yeah, you
sorry.
might want to mute yourself there, Skyhopper.
Yeah, so I wasn't too surprised what was released yesterday. I think that when you guys initially came up with the orange paper, well over a year ago now, a lot has changed in the scene, along with the not so great NFT and crypto market in general. Although we seem to be pumping back up again slowly. So with regards to a community round, I like the idea that was listed yesterday, and I have some ideas about that. So I mentioned to you earlier, Skyhopper, but I'll mention them publicly now as well, or whoever didn't read it in the chat earlier as well. So I think that we should get a community round. I'm not exactly sure how it would work. Maybe we'll go into the public round where you get a certain amount per. You get a potential allocation of a certain amount per hooligan you own. And then if you own one hooligan, you get that amount, up to that amount. If you own 10 hooligans, you get 10x, etc., etc. Maybe something like you get a week to buy, and then whatever is not bought is then released to the public at probably 2x the price that we get them at. So if we could get them at the private round, that would be pretty good, I think. And then the public round gets 2x or something along those lines. The whole thing about it as well is that we should definitely get the same lockup and vesting schedule as the other rounds. I don't think that we as holders should be able to just like dump them on floor on token release day. We should definitely be able to get. We should definitely have to have the same vesting schedule and lockup. And then regarding a public round as well. So I've seen there was a few projects around the ICO era, and then a bit later on as well that were kind of allowing the random public, general public, to buy tokens, maybe $500 worth of tokens or $1,000 worth of tokens per wallet, and then a few projects allowed them to sell right away. Maybe holders who'd been holding for a couple of years had a vesting schedule for maybe a month longer or 2 months longer or 24 months longer, and but these public sales, I think I can't remember what they're called, IPOs maybe. They were just given out and they were allowed to be sold immediately. And those people were making kind of 5 or 10x, and they were just killing the prices of the tokens. So I'm completely against something like that if that was being thought about at this stage.
Okay, definitely take that on board. Yeah, so there's a number of ways you individuals kind of do public rounds. You can do it sometimes through launch pads with whitelisting, and with stuff like this, it does require KYC. With whitelisting, and in most cases, public rounds do immediately unlock. It depends on the structure of how you structure the public round. So often, public rounds can happen all at once, or they can happen in stages. Essentially, like a pre-sale, a secondary pre-sale, and then public. With the pre-sales, you can often impose vesting on those, but with the public round, in most cases, that doesn't normally happen. Now, the mechanisms by which individuals would do it, there was the ICO, there's IDO, there's an initial exchange of IEX, IEO. So there's a number of different terms. Initial DEX offering as well. So there's a number of terms, a number of ways that these can be done. Some individuals would do it via launch pads. Some individuals would do it via a liquidity bootstrapping with balancer, such as like a Copper launch. Some individuals would do it through exchanges, essentially like Binance Labs or KuCoin Labs, and develop the token that way. So definitely taking that on board around the community round, and we'll definitely take it on board in terms of public round and how that could be structured to not be in a position where everything's immediately kind of dumped at 2, 3, 4, 5x, right? So appreciate your comments there, NFTs, and yeah, feel free to kind of stick around on the panel. But yeah, I think you look at things in a very you're a pretty solid holder of ours as well. You've been around to the studio. We talk a lot, and I think you do provide a very balanced view on things as well. So appreciate all your efforts and all the advice and input you put into it and everything you do for the community. So just want to say that as well.
Cheers. I do have a couple of other points if I can.
Let's go.
Well.
Keep them coming. Yeah, of course.
Regarding the vesting, I think that someone mentioned yesterday it should be a daily vest. on the VC. I think that's a great idea because it stops like larger blocks of S cards. You're hot miking again, Skyhopper.
Oh damn! I'm not used to this.
It stops larger blocks of S cards being sold each month at the same time, essentially. So daily vesting might be a good idea. It also means that it's presumably going to cost some gas for people to release their S cards that they're getting on a daily basis. So they're going to be releasing them at different times, and it just stops. As I said, like maybe the price being hit too much if there's too much being sold at one go.
Yeah,
and then
understood. I'm just making a note as well.
Regarding you said that the holders weren't really affected due to the rewards in game being decreased from 46 or whatever it was, from 40% down to about 25% or something. I kind of disagree with that with regards to renting. So, definitely one of the reasons I have several hooligans and several quite rare hooligans as well is because of the renting. I figured that I'd be able to get a higher percentage or distribution or however the renting will work in the game due to what I'm holding versus just some people just got all floors. I think that we did take a hit with regards to renting for that because presumably the potential earnings from renting will have decreased due to the percentage being lower.
Yeah, happy to touch on that. I'd say not necessarily. So this now. So one of the things that's not really been outlined in this paper that will come in the next paper is essentially how the Genesis Hooligan will work in respects to the game and how free-to-play hooligans will work and what the different user journeys are and how rewards will be issued accordingly and who can get rewards and who can't. I'd say, we want to give you a bit more information on that. That's coming soon. But until then, I'd just say that I don't feel, based on what we've currently worked through, that would be the case. Now, let's take, for instance, the community rewards currently being set at 25%. For community rewards it now includes staking as well, so it's just been a bit of a shift. What we've got to remember here is these are community rewards for game, right? Gameplay and the various constructs, competitive gameplay, loops, how we compete in quests, who gets what, and how NFT holders, benefit more from that, which we're going to give you a lot more information on soon. And, we'll also share some of the documentations around that, around, the Figma boards and, how the carrot token works within the game and in and outside of the game. So that's still to come. One thing I want to really be clear on here is around the rewards for the game. This is essentially a pot that's initially, kind of seeded that will vest over a certain amount of time to support gameplay, support bringing on users. So one of the reasons to actually have incentives in Web3 with tokens is actually user acquisition as well, right? It's to give people a reason to want to come and test out what you've got. One of the things I'm going to come back to the core messaging. So the direction I'm going to go in now is rewards are important. Rewards have also destroyed games and destroyed tokens. And most of the Web3 games that we've seen so far, they actually haven't helped them. They might have helped them initially. They might have helped get a really good buzz going, but ultimately they have in most cases destroyed them. So there has to be a balance here. Number two, the core reason for anybody to play our game shouldn't be that they're going to be able to be rewarded from it. The core reason to play our game should be that they enjoy playing it. Just like I'd enjoy playing, Fortnite. I don't play Fortnite myself, but I'm just using it as an example. Just in case anybody thinks I'm a hardcore Fortnite head. But just as I would play any game, in most cases, I'd pay to play a game or I'd participate in a store to swag out my character. Even if I was to watch a movie, I'd pay to watch a movie. It's because I find enjoyment in this. It's because I find it a means of escapism and entertainment. That should always be the core reason that why anybody plays the game. The core reason shouldn't be that they can earn from it. First off, that's one of the key principles that we're working towards here. And by doing that, by making a core incentive to play the game, to get rewards, it almost kind of becomes like a job for individuals. You get a lot of individuals just playing to farm rewards and then just selling them as a means of making money, right? Which ultimately can destroy the game. And we've seen that time and time again. So our reason is enjoyment first, rewards secondary. But also ensure that OG hooligans are definitely looked after in terms of that. And there'll be a different pathway to free-to-play players. So that's first off. Second off is there is in the constructs of the token distribution structure the Hooli Treasury. The Hooli Treasury, is something that will be preceded. Sorry, and it's something that will continue to grow. It will continue to grow via any carrots being spent in the ecosystem. So anything being spent in the marketplace, anything being spent on any NFTs, any ecosystem contributions collected from gameplay, whether it's me and my clan going up against Obi's clan with a pool of rewards, there'll be a contribution on that. So that Hooli Treasury will continue to grow as carrots are being spent. That Hooli Treasury can be used as and when required, depending on whether there's a balance needed and how many individuals are actually engaging in the game and engaging in the economy, if we need to support further rewards and actually top up the earning aspect of the game, and if we need to actually even increase staking rewards or extend that. So the Hooli Treasury is a very important construct. Now, preloading or having a pot of 25% for rewards, essentially could grow. It could grow back to 40 overall as kind of the ecosystem continues to grow, and the token shows some stability and a requirement to introduce more tokens into the rewards factor, because of the trajectory of the game and the trajectory of the token too. So that is not fixed. It is something that can be influenced and something that can be grown. I do not think we're going to be able to be blowing through 25% in 1 year, 2 year, or even 3 years. So we've got a lot of time to really help grow the game, help grow the economy, the user base, and as and when and if we need to, we can increase the community rewards aspect as well through the treasury. I hope that I kind of answered that in 2 parts, but I hope that kind of adds some color to it.
Sure, I'm happy to respond. That's okay.
Yeah.
So I agree that the game should be free to play and it has to be fun. Definitely on board with that. But as a holder, I'm looking to benefit from being a holder, and that's where the renting part really interested me.
Yeah.
So,
and that's not, for the record, that's not necessarily something that's been taken away. There's still going to be rewards through renting and staking. So, yeah.
But again, there's going to be hopeful 6 to 7 figure monthly active users, so like hundreds of thousands or millions of monthly active users, and only a very small percentage of those will presumably be playing and earning. And I would hope that my hooligans would be making an extra couple of carats per day each.
Okay.
That.
Yeah. All right. Definitely understood. I think. Okay. So that the task for us is to introduce a bit more detail on how the hooligans and coins will work in the game, which we've got. We just need to communicate that out, and I think that will definitely relieve some of your I wouldn't say fears, but some of the concerns you've got around that, because you'll start to see how the OG hooligans have a slightly different part to play, and have a slightly different path of being rewarded within the ecosystem. So note to us is to start to get some of that information out to you, which is the next level of information. So definitely appreciate the commentary there. NFTs noted, and we're going to get back to you on that. But ultimately, we want to ensure that our holders are well taken care of, and that's part of having this discussion as well right now.
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate your feedback there, NFTs. We hear you, and we want to make sure that as we continue to construct this out, that we're taking care of those incentives for you guys to make sure that you've got the incentive to want to hold. Yeah, exactly. So,
and it's definitely the case, right? So some people have a considerable amount of hooligans with the intention that they're going to be able to rent them out and benefit from them. So we completely understand. That's one of the profiles behind holding the number of tokens. So it's definitely something we've got to get right and ensure that we do definitely test the constructs of that with you as well. So appreciate. I can't see the chat box, so if there's anything coming up in chat that I need to respond to, somebody please let me know, Aches or anybody else. NFTs, anything else from yourself there?
No, nothing for me. It's just myself and Robert De Niro arguing in drama chat, so no need to worry about it.
All right, well, I hope it's not too much of an argument. But Webby, welcome, sir. Anything you want to touch on based on what's what's already been discussed?
Yeah, I just had, I guess, had a question. Some good points brought up by NFTs. But I guess I had a question surrounding the treasury. One thing that was mentioned is that there may be, say, proposals put forth for a community vote, and I'm just curious if you guys have thought out how that would work, and how the treasury would actually be controlled.
Yeah, so that we've done quite a bit of thought on that. Now, in terms of the actual process, that's something we're currently working through. So one of the things to just add here is we were onboarded by Fenwick and West. They are one of the top legal firms in the business, especially in the States, around kind of crypto gaming tokens as well. In particular, they're responsible for working on ApeCoin, Arbitrum, Solana Foundation, I think Graph, 1inch, you can check the website, a whole heap of projects. Some of this stuff needs to go via them in terms of process around any proposals and how voting, what the voting process will look like. There's a lot of examples about, how proposals currently work within some of the other ecosystems out there that these guys have helped design. So, I'm assuming we will follow a very similar path to some of the tokens that are out there with proposals and voting structure. So let us get sign off on that first. And, that's something that will be made a lot more clear in the next version of the paper. I'm sorry I couldn't give you too much detail on there, but I want to make sure that it's kind of tackled with legal first. But there will be a very clear process on how you do that, and it will likely involve the holdings that you've got as well, and that being some form of weight into it. So bear with us on that, please.
Okay. Yeah. No. Understood.
All right. Anything else you want to touch on based on what's been discussed so far?
Not what's been discussed right now.
Okay, no worries. I'm going to leave you up here, because we are going to get onto other topics as well. One sec, my computer's kind of crashing right now. All right, where was I? I kind of gone outside of my agenda so far. Let me just get myself back to where I should be. Okay, so just kind of focusing again on what holders are getting. Still 2% on claims, with the 1% on or just after generation, and then another 1% that will be announced in the future. Still a year worth of loaded staking upfront, with continuing staking after launch. And there is a suggestion that has come out that I really like in particular. There's two things here. Is number one, around staking being token gated, so essentially saying based on the amount of hooligan holdings, you can stake a certain amount of carrots. I want to discuss this with you all further now, because there's two ways you can do staking, right? There's one that you can just, if you own carrots, you can just stake carrots and participate in a staking rewards pool. There's another way you can token gate it completely, so that in order to stake carrots, you also need to have a hooligan, and there'll be some form of weighting around that and some form of bonus multipliers. And then the other thing is having potential boosters with other assets, including Zuckbots and the others. So one of the suggestions that's been swimming around for a while is, could Zuckbots be eligible for staking as well? And could we get more utility for them within the ecosystem? So this is something that Bored Apes did quite well. Bored Apes often do hit the nail on the head with a few things. So big up to them as well. But they with their staking pools had a number of different pools based on your holdings of NFTs and the actual ApeCoin token. So if you held an OG of theirs, you got access to a certain pool. If you held an OG and a mutant and a dog, which is kind of like an equivalent of a Zuckbot, you'd get a certain amount of boosters on that. So that's definitely something that we're working on. We've not put that out there yet because, again, we still need to work through some of the constructs of that with the new legal advisor and team on board to ensure that everything we're doing fits within the correct legal framework for not only the US but other regions as well. And that that's to protect the token. And that's to protect the community as well, and anybody who's getting involved in the token, and to protect AMGI Studios as a firm. So one thing to note here, and I think it's a great suggestion, open to opinions here, is around token gated staking of carrots, and having a mechanism by which there is boosters depending upon the holdings you have. So for instance, if somebody had 2 million tokens, they can't just have one hooligan and be able to stake all 2 million tokens, essentially. So there's some constructs to work around that, but open to any opinions on that too. Anybody want to jump in? Anybody new? Or whilst we've got Webby and NFTs, feel free to jump in on that too.
Yeah, I'll certainly speak to that.
And the other thing here is, like, if we often look at investors as the bad guys sometimes. They're not always the bad guys. They're not always individuals that are just sat there waiting to dump tokens as soon as they come to. They actually, we've been very fortunate with the partners we've got. A lot of them have a lot of great insight. They've worked hand in hand with us on things. I'm not, there might also be some thought that the partners influence us in certain ways, and we don't say no and just do what they say. That's absolutely not the case. Like, anybody can have opinions, they can bring stuff to the table, but ultimately AMGI Studios is what drives the project and what makes decisions. So investors, partners are not always the bad guys. In our case, we've been very fortunate to have who we've got at the table, and they've been so helpful in every aspect of what we're doing around this. I just wanted to add that. But if there are fears of investors or early access individuals who've got a certain amount of tokens just being able to stake and therefore earn even more from their tokens without having any NFT holdings, that's something that could balance that out, and mean that if some of these partners also want to stake, they'd also have to essentially sweep the floor for some hooligans as well. This is something for discussion, so opening up NFT. Sorry I jumped in, but I just wanted to provide a bit more context on that first.
Yeah, so that's similar, as you said, to what some other projects are doing. If you want to mute again, Skyhopper.
Yeah, sorry, bro.
Yeah, so that's what some other projects are doing, as you said, Bored Ape. Neo Tokyo is doing something similar, where you can stake a certain amount of their bytes per citizen you own, up to a certain amount. But they also have quite an interesting lockup schedule. So if you lock up a citizen for 12 months, you'll still earn like a daily rewards, whatever it is. But then you can also have your bytes, your tokens locked up as well with it for also the 12 months. And if you remove, at any stage you can take out your citizen before the 12 months is up, but any bonuses that you would have gotten will be gone. And that also means if you move wallets, if you sell it, if you do whatever, so they're not passed on to the next person. I definitely agree, and I've been saying it to you in private and publicly as well, that I do think that people who are entering the AMGI system and also the My Pet Hooligan system, whenever someone buys tokens or someone invests or whatever, I do think that they should have to buy a minimum of X amount of hooligans and have those locked up, and also a minimum amount of tokens as well. I think I said that, maybe the next person that comes and says, hey, we want you guys to do our 3D rendering or whatever, they give you 100 grand or $500,000 or whatever it is. But, some of that money does have to go into hooligans. Some of that money does have to go into the token. I think that would put an interesting spin on it.
Yeah, all right, good stuff. I've noted that. So, if we do go the lock staking mechanism, all that's possible. It does mean that, in most cases with lock staking, you have to then put your items in another contract for staking, which, not everybody's comfortable with. So let's do a bit more exploration in that. There's definitely some constructs we'll work out around that, and that we can table with you and discuss before, we make any of that live and public. And I think that's definitely the approach we want to take in terms of getting the next update out of the paper. which the next update is going to be more so around what we've discussed today and some of the quick fixes we can make and what can be influenced in terms of change. The further and more detailed version, which will probably include a lot more around the kind of staking pools and lockups around that, and also the gameplay integrations for token. That will be the one that will come 6 to 8 weeks before token launch. So there'll be 2 stages of this, but I've noted that down. Definitely see some wisdom in that. One of the other things just to note here is what we are discussing with legal. Again, this has got to go through the legal due diligence, is whether we are able to buy back carrots as well. And there's a reason why we may want to do that. Again, to buy back and put into a treasury, buy back for own holdings, or buy back to support the token and where it's at. So what we've got to remember here is there will be multiple revenue sources from the game, from the brand, from the IP, in terms of My Pet Hooligan, and not all of them will be via carrots. Like a lot of traditional companies out there will want to still transact in fiat. There'll be individuals who want to transact in fiat on certain sides of the ecosystem. So one of the things we are exploring is whether any of that fiat we can take and actually buy back carrots in order to further support the token. So again, that has to go through legal, but that's something that is being tabled too, just so everybody's aware. So taking all that into consideration, NFTs as part of kind of the longer term plan here. Noted. Appreciate the comments there. Anything else from you, Webby? And feel free, anybody else, to jump in too. We had a lot of good opinions and talk yesterday. There's actually less people on today than yesterday, so open to hearing more for sure and other opinions too.
So I guess a quick question. I don't know if I heard it right. So the whole point, say, of locking the carrot token, is that as more of a booster for the staking of Hooligan, so you would get, generate more per day, or what's the thought behind locking carrots?
with most general staking protocols on coins, whether it's directly with the provider or whether it's stake earning within exchanges, they often provide different rates of APY depending on the term of lockup. So essentially, if you were to go on Binance right now and lock up, let's say, AVAX token, if you lock it up for 30 days, you'll get a certain rate. If you lock it up for 90 days, you'll get a different rate. And if you lock it up for 120 days, you'll get a different rate. And if you extract the tokens, you can lose, some of the bonuses or even some of your earnings. So that's essentially what NFTs, to some degree, is relating to. I hope that answered that.
Yeah, no, and I know that. I guess I'm curious how it fits into our. We have the distribution chart that's on there. If that would go under staking, as part of that, or if this is a whole separate.
Yeah, no, that would go on the staking. So the staking rewards is currently set at 15%, which was 5% by year. But based on the current amount of Hoolies being staked for S carrots, I don't think we're going to hit 5% this year. So there may be some reward still left over. So that will come. So what's currently happening is year one of staking, and what you see in the paper is the constructs for year one. Year 2 and 3 will essentially be, if the dates line up, once the token is out. So the constructs of the staking then will be based on the ability to stake carrots and NFTs, or having token gated carrot staking, basically. So there will be some changes there, but fundamentally, we're not expecting a massive shift there. It's just about now you're introducing more aspects and more items into staking.
Okay. Yeah, I get that.
So that'll all be detailed under the staking section in the paper that we go out with before launch. Okay, moving on to the next topic. Definitely want to touch on this and get some opinions here. Was around the vesting. So one of the big concerns yesterday was around the vesting schedule for the early partner tokens. So the strategic round, which as it stands in the paper says 1 month and a 24-month vesting, linear monthly vesting unlock. So basically, essentially, people would get 1/24th of how many carats they've got every month after the first month. There was a lot of thoughts about that being fairly uncommon, and in most cases, lockups for early round investors being around six months in current market and probably around 12 months previously. Now, there's two ways to look at that, and I'm interested in all opinions here because there's definitely two ways I've looked at it as well. One is you're essentially creating and I don't know if I should say this, but is what essentially is an inflated FDV price for a token based on a very low circulating supply and a high FDV because majority of the tokens are actually locked up. So when they actually come out 12 months later, it can really affect the standing of the price and could actually lead to an excessive sell-off in many ways, or people preempting a sell-off and selling off in advance, which we often see, right? Which is standard in trading. When's the big unlock happening, and should we sell and then buy the dip, etc. So that's one way of looking at it. And one way of looking at it is one of the reasons that happens is to support a bit of price action early on in the project. The other way to look at it is, are you really truly creating a fair value price for the token? Is the price of the token a real price, or is it purposely manipulated through the lockups? So the other thing that we've got to mention here is that we are actually a gaming project. We will have a game live. We will have utility for the tokens in the game and in the wider ecosystem. So we need tokens in circulation too. Now, can we stop an investor for selling once they've had it unlocks? Definitely not. Do we feel that our strategic partners, that some partners we've had to turn down? Let me just make that clear. Do we feel that they're really in this with the long run and want to see the continued growth and success of the game, which ultimately benefits them even more? Absolutely, yes. And we've definitely got some great minds at the table with us. Now, the current construct would mean that after a month, they'd get a 24th of the portion of tokens they've invested in unlocked. That has definitely put some fear in some of our community members, particularly around individuals who have been in the crypto game for a while, who understand, read through a hell of a lot of white papers, and it doesn't feel like it's generally the norm. So I want you to look at that two ways, and I want to definitely kind of get your opinions on that. One is it doesn't really create a fair value for the token, and it can cause further damage later on. Number two is actually having sustained unlock and not huge cliffs, and kind of contribute to even bigger dips later. Is actually we're a game. We need tokens out there. We don't want to set a false precedent on token value. We want it to be as real and correctly effectively be what the market wants it to be, based on a legitimate supply of tokens being in there. Now, I've seen tokens out there that might have 1 billion tokens and there's only, or 500 million tokens, and there's only 3% in supply, and they've got a great FDV. What happens as they continue to unlock tokens? Maybe later, how does that affect the sustainability of the ecosystem? How does it affect the balance of the token against the utility that you're providing in game? These are a lot of questions, and we at this stage have decided to do things a little bit differently, because a lot of times some of these constructs don't always work out, and we actually have a real solid product, and we actually have real utility in front of us and real use cases for the token. But at the same time, I understand the other side of this. So I want to basically try and get a bit of discussion going around on this. I know, Emerson, you were pretty vocal about this yesterday. and anybody else who wants to jump in who sees, and one of our other, really strong holders. Yesterday, I was having discussions with was actually really in support of the token unlocks as well. That was Mali Misko. Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. I know you're not here right now, but this is being recorded. So there are actually two sides within the community on this particular subject, but I definitely want to hear opinions on that. So Emerson, if you want to jump in, anybody else wants to jump in. Again, I'll take all feedback. I'm not saying there's anything can be done about it because there are agreements already in place. We can have discussions and we can see what could be influenced, but I definitely want to have the discussion and understand viewpoints on this. And Flying Falcon, sorry, I kind of doxed you guys as being a fund that is also invested in Carrot tokens. I'm sorry, I did that yesterday on the PC. I don't know if I was allowed to or not, but just wanted to own up to that. Okay, Emerson, feel free to jump in. I know you're pretty vocal on this, and I definitely want to ensure that your opinion and feedback is heard on the matter.
What's going on, Emerson?
Emerson has left the building. Anybody else who wants to jump in, feel free. Nope. All right. Well, Emerson's back in the building. I'm gonna invite him to speak. Emerson, are you in?
Yeah, sorry.
Let's go, brother. I'm just trying to check out.
I
I was actually just admiring your profile picture of a bear grabbing onto somebody's back. Pretty dangerous polar bear. Okay, go for it, Amazon. I just called you Amazon. Sorry, Amazon. Sorry, dude. I'm gonna turn off my mic now.
All right, hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay, all
Hey,
right,
buddy.
I got y'all. So I'm out at lunch right now. I don't really have great service, but yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about the vesting schedule and some underlying concerns. I'm not really sure how much can be changed because, as you said, like the partner round has been pretty much solidified by now. So I guess at this point, it's more about like providing concessions to the community and kind of evening that out. I mentioned in chat, but I think just with the nature of the vesting schedules and the way that partner tokens especially are going to be not the majority of circulating supply, but like a very significant portion. Like they unlock significantly faster than the team's tokens, the development tokens, and the way that the community will get tokens. So I think it makes sense that for the Hooli treasury, I don't know what conversations you've had around governance for it, but I think it would make a lot of sense that the treasury is governed by the ERC 721s, the NFTs, the Genesis Hooligans, and then organize some kind of voting power for future collections, as opposed to having the governance through the ERC 20s and having that kind of mainly in the hands of the early investors and the team. I think that would provide a lot of value as just like giving power back to the community. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Noted. I'm taking notes on that. All right, keep going, sir. And also, I'd like you to touch on your views on a community sale as well.
yeah. So for the community sale, I don't know. I think as holders in general, we just want to feel like we are, equal or close to equal with the access to MPH and AMGI as investors. Obviously, that's like can't really happen in reality, but for the community sale, I think as far as like pricing and investing goes, and your talk earlier, it would make sense to me that whatever the private round is concluded at, like holders would have access to the same parameters, same pricing, same vesting as that. And as far as like divvying up the distributions for, let's say, a 5% community raise, I don't know. There's definitely open to conversations there, and there's a lot of ways that you could distribute, the few percentages needed to fulfill that. I think even taking like 2% from the treasury or something and allocating that to the community raise up front would be a way to basically take shares that were allocated to the community and then allocate them in, a front-loaded manner, and then you'd repay the treasury through that by in-game currency accruing to the treasury. I mean, that's already in your plans. So
No, definitely see where you're coming from. So let's not get into the detail about where the
yeah,
percentage will come from, but
yeah,
what I want to get here is there a general consensus amongst the community that they would like to participate in a round in terms of how big that round is and where it comes from? We can work through that with you all, but I just want to understand if there's a general consensus here that would be something that is of interest. But from what I'm hearing, it would be. So
Yeah,
that's something for us.
yeah. I'd say
Yeah.
that would be pretty unanimous in the community, especially if it's the same parameters as the private sale.
Okay, understood. All right. Okay, so one sec. I'm making notes. So if I ever go quiet, it's gonna make notes. All right. I personally like the idea, and so I will definitely raise that as well as everything else. So okay, thank you for that, Emerson. Appreciate all your feedback today. Appreciate you jumping in and providing some good, strong, challenging questions yesterday. If anybody's not listened, feel free to go and listen to the VC we had yesterday. It was impromptu. I was literally about to head home, discuss everything today, but I kind of felt like based on the discussion that was going on, and the mods told me to jump in as well. So big shout out to you. We had to discuss. So definitely. Impromptu, but I thought it was a really, really valuable conversation. And the key thing here is like never ever feel like your voice won't be heard, and never feel like you don't have the influence for us to you don't have the influence as a community, because we don't want to make decisions that impact the future of the community, the game, the token, and absolutely everything we stand for here as a collective, without having our community's voice at the table, and that's what this is all about right now. And that's why I want to definitely push, push for some action as well. So thank you all. I never want you to ever feel that way. Never feel like, oh my God, that's it, it's all over. This is set in stone. That's it. You've got a voice, use it. And if you don't feel comfortable, there are other members of the community that will help relay the message as well. So you are part of our team. Don't ever forget that. There's no us and you. There's no, the community, second-rate citizens. You are absolutely citizens. That is definitely felt by me and the other people in AMGI Studios. We're both first-rate citizens. You absolutely are VIPs in this. I want you to remember that. So never feel that anything is a done to. Everything should be a done with. In hindsight, like I said yesterday, we probably should have had an upfront discussion, but we were keen to get everything out at the same time. But thankfully, it's provoked great conversation, and it's definitely going to provoke some influence and action as well. So thanks. Anything else you wanted to add there? I think we've probably covered everything I wanted to cover in terms of token. What I'm not saying is the discussion around this ends today. I'm taking all feedback. I definitely want to kind of touch on this again, and then we will kind of feedback what actions we're taking as well on the basis of these discussions. Anything else anybody wants to touch on in terms of the token before we move on to the next subject? And I'll quickly summarize some of the stuff we've discussed as well before we do that.
As always, Sky Apple, I think you've done a great job of outlining all of these points to everybody, and I just want to just chime in and say the exact same thing, just to echo this sentiment, guys. We listen to your feedback very carefully, and we take this shit seriously. So we're noting all of this. We're going to make sure that we're just metabolizing it, and we'll report back as far as reaching like full consensus with everybody on what we can do.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I can't see any other hands raised, but I know a lot of individuals will probably listen to this later. So, if we can keep a chat open for this, that we can, work with our great team of moderators in Discord as well to keep tabs on, that'd be great. But in summary, we've discussed a bit around the reasoning behind the token rounds, valuation of them. We've discussed, potentially raising the private round to 50 mil valuation. We've discussed vesting around early partner tokens, and particularly wanting to see a fair reflection of those in the team and advisors and development functions as well. We've talked a bit about continuation of staking and what that may look like. Token generation, including token gated staking and boosters, and including how Zuckbots could play a part in that as well. And we've also talked about a community round at a similar vesting and market cap as the private round, and where that comes from, we're yet to kind of go through. And with that, I'd say that's pretty much it on the token side of things. I hope that all made sense, but definitely kind of give me a shout if not, or is there anything else you want us to go through? So now I want to go on to damn, what time did we start this, by the way? I'm just looking at the clock.
I think 2:15.
Wow.
2:20. We did play catch up just twice, so that cut
All
into
right.
our
Yeah,
time.
I'm carrying on until we've got through everything. So
Okay,
I was like, have we just only done half an hour? But I'm actually, we've done like 1 hour 15 minutes, which is pretty cool. I'm happy with that. I'm still happy to keep going. Energizer Bunny right here. I don't know if anybody knows. Do you have Energizer Bunnies in the UK? I mean, in the US.
Yeah, dude, of course.
All right.
Yeah,
I didn't know if it was a UK thing, but yeah, I just remembered it. I'm the real Energizer Bunny here. Might need to put on Can't Touch This to get a bit of second wind here, but you know what? Let's just put it on.
Always.
Let's get. Let me just have a quick dance. Let me get my energy back up, and let's go. All right, that's enough. I was only joking. Okay, cool. All right, so just another recap there. Still a lot of the same constructs for holders, claims wise, and the amount of tokens available for staking as well, and the ability to participate directly in game rewards. So we are going to give you a lot more on that. Next topic for discussion is around the website update. So let's get into that. Also, one other thing that I did mention is there are still some updates to be made to the orange paper, not only in respects to what we're discussing right now, but there is still info to go on around Zuckbots, based on us having the information ready. It's just not gone in there yet, and I know a couple of community members said there's not enough on there about Zuckbots, so we'll definitely be getting that on there as well. There'll definitely be kind of unlock charts as well, similar to how you see the distribution charts over a certain length of time as well, so to help you visually understand that as well. So there's more updates being made there. Okay, in terms of, let's move on to website now. In terms of the website, essentially yesterday we've gone live with an initial version or a baseline version of the website. I'm interested to get an understanding of how you feel about the new format. If you think it's the right balance between the game and the actual ecosystem and IP and branding around My Pet Hooligan, which is also important to understand that not everybody's a gamer. The messaging, whether there's too much, too little, and what improvements we can make from here. One thing to just make clear here is we've not got absolutely everything we want in there yet. There are still updates to the staking dashboard to be made. There are still a few other pages to go up. Particularly, Hafsam had a great suggestion around one being how much of a hooligan you are, which is essentially a survey that will tell you how much of a hooligan you are, which will be quite fun. Another one around assets. So we've got a lot of great visual assets that not everybody can get their hands on in great quality. So that's something we want to get out there as well. So you can just download them, print posters. We've got a whole heap of stuff out there that some of you have not even seen yet. So we want to get that stuff out there. And then another page that we are going to introduce that's been worked on is the K Gold shop, where you'll be able to spend your K Gold on various items, which is long overdue. But the devs have actually been working on the bot to enable us to do that, and we will have that shop go live, hopefully bigger and better than ever. So there's still things that are being worked on. Mobile tablet optimization too. So yeah, just generally want to understand, and anybody feel free to jump in here, is what do you think of the current look and feel of it? do you think it has the right balance? Do you think there's enough information? What do we need more of? What do we need less of? And what are you still expecting from us in terms of the website? So open forum. I don't know if you want to jump in here on anything as well, Obi. You've been really close on the website side of things.
Yeah, more than happy.
And then we're open up to the crew.
Yeah, ultimately, we really want you guys to tear this up for us. I mean, we know that this is a beta version of something that we think that this is just a good plan to shift from, right? We think it's a lot stronger than what we already had out, obviously. So now we're looking forward to, again, really trying to showcase the product itself, and we're trying to figure out this balance of showing a professional game product while also communicating about the My Pet Hooligan community, the collectibles, all of the aspects of this brand that we're building. Ultimately, we're trying to make sure that it's clear for anybody coming into the community. There's a very nice, clear pathway for them to have touch points with all of the different activations that we have going on, and making it clear and coherent. So it's something that we're constantly going to be iterating on. We feel like this is a good platform to build from, but this is still early stages, so there's a lot that still needs to go into this. And even within the next couple of days, there's going to be a couple of changes pushed already. But still, initial thoughts, guys, tear it up. We really value feedback here, so please, NFTs, I saw the mic come.
And one thing to just plug is X has actually set up a feedback form on Discord as well. X, if you can, just share that link out again. So that's where you go with any feedback you've got in terms of the site. I know there's probably one or two spelling mistakes in there as well, so we'll get onto that.
Yeah, we've got a whole load of copy changes we're making tonight. Anybody? We got anybody that wants to hop up? What do we got?
Yeah, I think we need to invest in larger font sizes, because that staking website at the moment is pretty impressive to try and read.
Yeah, all right. Get the investment out, Obi.
Sure.
The gas prices must have been pretty high when we were picking the font sizes anyway.
Yeah. All right, yeah, okay. Anything else? It's open forum, so guys just jump in.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. I went through all the pages last night, but I guess the the orange paper update kind of took majority of the time to go through. But I think one thing that jumped out at me, I like how you guys have the higher quality images, the autoplay video of the gameplay at the top. But then there's some images that, to me anyway, they just don't seem to fit with the vibe of the site, and the higher quality images. Like some of the Hooligan, the NFT ones, they just kind of seem like they're laid on there, and not really fitting the quality of everything else.
All right, good stuff. Obi, you heard that?
I'm taking notes on all of this. Appreciate that, Willie.
Thankfully, we've got an absolutely absolutely great art team. So that's a very easy and welcome fix. So let's surprise you on the next iteration. So thanks for that. Is that more so on the ecosystem side or anywhere else? Tell me where you feel that is most prevalent.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, it was the ecosystem side. There might have been, there's a couple of images there that just don't really probably go with the theme. I think on the main page down middle or something, there's a couple hooligans that are. It just kind of looks different than the rest of it. And then I think on the maybe the team page, there's the actual hooligans there. I don't know if the team page can kind of get a little more up to snuff. I don't know. It's just
we've got a new team page that's just going to be again more cohesive, a little bit more designed to match the rest of the site as well. So it's actually kind of one of the first top priorities for us. I know that team page needs work.
Let me jump in here as well. So team page is definitely getting overall. One thing I want to ask is here: would you prefer? I'm not sure all them hooligans are actually the team's hooligans as well. So we just need to make sure it's actually their hooligans on there. Would you prefer real pictures, or would you prefer hooligans as team members' pictures, or
real photos? I suggested earlier. Someone suggested above me, and then I expanded further on it. Where basically there should be more information. So maybe if you click, it should be the real photos. I think for the people. And then when you can click into the description, and it should give you much more. It should give you their bio, a much larger bio, like LinkedIn sort of thing. And then it should have their, maybe if you hover your mouse over their photo, then it comes up to a hooligan that they own.
I like that. I like that. All right, so maybe
it just looks kind of scammy
maybe
at
a
the
bit.
moment.
I'd say we might need to make a bit of a compromise on information of how much information is there. However, what we could do is have the bio and have a LinkedIn link that anybody can click on if they want to delve in more. But I like the idea around a real picture. We actually did everybody's took what do you call them? It's not called a photo, a headshot of everybody in the studio last week. So we can get those up there. And I like the idea about being able to hover over and it changes to the hooligan as well. Steve's actually had a great idea here, and I don't know Obi what it takes to do this, but there's a couple of things definitely I know it takes is when you hover over, it essentially plays an embedded video of the team members using Hooligram to drive their NFT. So it could be like, hey, I'm Luke Skyhopper, I'm da 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 da, as my actual hooligan. So I think that's a great idea. But Obi, in terms of working with the devs to do that, that'd be interesting. I'd personally, I want to push for that. I want to push for that.
I think we can. I don't think there's a problem. I think that we can totally do that.
All right. Okay. All right. That great suggestion there, Colby. You're up to bat as well.
Yeah, I was just that's what I was gonna say. Was the team page, but also I really like how the Web3, like all the Web3 stuff is in one section. And it's not just like scattered how the normal one was, just on like the main page. It makes it like a lot more like a normal website, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely want to. I definitely do, Obi. I've been bugging you for this. I want to see. I definitely want to see that spaced out a bit more, and I think we could add a lot to that in terms of like graphic and art as well. Yeah. Quite into things. I think we can do something. The way I'm seeing that page is essentially all those activations, but like crazy graphic behind it of essentially leading into all those boxes that actually relate to the activation as well. I think we should put. I think we should, when we get a bit of time out of Lee, we should put him on something epic for that.
I think that's a good call. And also just making that Web3 stuff. I feel like we're going to be spending a lot of time there now, especially as we get a little bit more into, obviously, our K-Gold shop and eventually ways for community members to spend carrots on assets and things like that. So this is something that we're actually going to be building up pretty substantially. So yeah, I'm open to you guys' feedback there. I feel like video integrations and just more elaborate, interesting kind of art installations around all of our Web3 activations is necessary. So it's definitely going to be an area of focus. It's going to be kind of like one of the next real main sections of this site and kind of portal that we need to build out. Just to be let's go.
One suggestion, I guess, or question for you guys. I think a couple months back when you guys first released the one website, we had somebody that had no idea what My Pet Hooligan was, and he did like a unbiased review, right? So he went to the website, tried looking through all that, and then kind of did a video review of it live. Have you guys thought of maybe trying to do like a focus group almost, or like trying to get people that have no idea what this is to look at the website and just get their feel for it? Because I mean, we're looking through it. We can give you guys suggestions, but maybe there's stuff that we're not really seeing that a newcomer might not understand or be completely confused.
I think that's a great call. I mean, we've discussed focus groups a little bit in the past, but not extensively, certainly not in the last month or so. So I think that's something that we should do. I mean, at this point, we're really trying to make sure, it's going to come down to testing at this point too, right? So when we think about how possibly, I don't know, if a non-Web3 gamer finds the site, are there too many Web3, is there too much Web3 messaging around this that's going to dissuade them? Will we eventually need to make a separate game website? It kind of seems like that might be the case. But for right now, we're trying to kind of mix both to make sure that everybody's taken care of, for our branding purposes, raising purposes, and then also to take care of all you guys. So I think that's a great chat, Webby, and I feel like
I think just to echo Webby's point, I think Obi, this is more Wes. This is more about it's more about somebody who doesn't know anything about us, right? So if somebody from the street was to look at our site, would they understand what's going on? I think that's the true litmus test for this.
Mm-hmm.
And so the focus group probably shouldn't necessarily, for that particular exercise in particular, be internal. It should be external.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that, Webby. Okay. Cool. So just again, Aches is plugging the link to throw in any feedback around the site. This is a baseline site. We do want to make improvements on it, so help us along that journey as well. And it's got to be the way I want us to think about this is it's got to be able to show off our products. and it's got to be able to for somebody new to My Pet Hooligan, whether it's Web3 or outside, be able to introduce the concepts of what we're doing in a way that they can understand and digest it. That's ultimately what the purpose of the website should be. And one of the other things is we are adding a Medium page. We've probably got like 6, 7, 8 articles ready to go for that. So that's probably a lot of them are historic, but we're going to get them out anyway. And we will continue to have, like periodic articles go up on Medium. They will also go and feed into the website as well. So that's another thing being added there. Any other comments around website stuff? If not, I want to go into Alpha 1.5 community launch.
And obviously, guys, put those feedback forms for us as you see things, as find things, or if you, as time goes on, if you think about things that could be improved, let us know, please. We'd really appreciate it. Now, you guys have already, big shout out, have some, Beto, Steez, you guys have already been, and all the mods, you guys have already been all over it, so appreciate it, guys.
Perfecto. One team, one dream, as cheesy as that sounds. All right, so let's go into Alpha 1.5 launch. NFTs who came to the studio, or when was it? Was it February? Is it February? I can't remember. Late February, March. Yeah, and one of the first things he said is like, guys, let's get this build out to the community. And we were like, it's not finished yet. It's not where we need it to be for the community. He's saying, just get it out. Let people enjoy it. Let people create content. Let's have some fun with it. If we break it, let's break it. We understand as a community that it's still a product's in development. There's still more to be done. And you know what? We definitely take that seriously. We saw some chatter around others being able to have access to the alpha build, particularly around the event that happened in Argentina, and the community wants it. So to that end, again, I do believe we are going to be able to get this out to you all a week on Friday. I just need to double check that with the devs, and that's likely when we'll have our next live stream and AMA. So there won't be a live stream tomorrow. It'll likely be next Friday when we are ready to push out the 0.5 to all. So expected a week tomorrow. I'll let you know if anything changes there. I hope I hope it was a week tomorrow, not the week after. Not the week after. I'm fairly confident it is. It will be version 1.5, so it won't be feature complete yet. We'll get you a list of what's in and what's out and what's still coming in 2.0. One thing that we were discussing yesterday is whether we'll be able to get the voice chat in time or not, and whether that's a priority for this build or other things are a priority. So there are still some things that still weighing up in the balance here. At this point, it will be for holders only. See it as continued testing and feedback purposes, and just have some fun and get some new content out, and get really kind of familiar with the new kind of layout and systems, and how more balanced it is, etc. We're being told in a lot of places that we are really far along in comparison with a lot of other projects in the space. And we've got one of the best players here with My Pet Hooligan. We take that on board, but we want to do absolutely even better. And actually getting this into all your hands will help us get there and get us the extra feedback we need, and help us in ensuring that version 2.0 is even better than we expected it to be. So there's a lot still going into that. I'm expecting a week tomorrow. I'll let you know if anything changes, and with that is when we'll have our live stream as well. I'm going to post a trailer. In fact, let me just post it now. So some of you might have seen the new trailer on the website. I'm going to post it right now. If can go on Twitter right now and retweet and share and comment on it. Let's go. One sec. Posted. So if everybody, and generally to this note, I just want to talk about sharing and general kind of engagement in anything we do. Like we here as a community a very important piece of this team. Like anything we do, anything we put out, we hope that you continue to keep supporting it. We want everybody from the wider crypto world, wider NFT world to see what we're doing. And often all it takes for engagement is a like or a retweet. So if you do like it or a comment, definitely keep showing up, keep doing what you're doing. We're throwing up a lot of high quality content out there. we've probably not probably. I'm gonna make a very bold statement here that we have got the best content in the game. We've got we're all often, not only from a volume point of view, but also in terms of a quality point of view. Like there's nobody even comparable to what we do. We've almost spoiled everyone that we're so consistent with it that everybody's got used to it. I know we can do better with engagement, and I know we can always do better with content. So we're going to continue to improve and deliver content on our side. My only ask is to everybody, do whatever you can to support it. You already do a lot. I just appreciate that, and I know we can do a lot better. We've got, essentially around 4,000 holders. 4,000 individuals could like and retweet, and we'd be trending all the time. We had a little interesting campaign going into GDC that a lot of the community partook in, which was I can't remember what the campaign it was, but we managed to get trending. It was just actually the words "My Pet Hooligan." We managed to get trending on Twitter, so that should show you the power of the community and the power of what engagement can do. So first of all, I'm going to pause for 2 minutes. I want everybody to go check out the new trailer on Twitter. I want you to all comment, retweet, and like it. Por favor. So we're going to pause. And in the meantime, whilst we're pausing, I'm going to get a sip of water. You know what I'm going to do?
Yeah, you throw it on, man.
Oh, no, somebody's taken control of my Spotify. West, you're going to have to throw it on.
Oh, no problem. I got you. Hold up, y'all.
I think the wife is using my Spotify in a car right now driving, so somebody else has commandeered it. And now she's calling me, probably to say, why are you changing the music I'm listening to? We're probably too. I think I spitballed long enough for everybody to go check out the show. Here we go. Go on, Obi.
Like that video.
Right, that's enough. Obi, it's chopping in and out, man. You're gonna have to cut that. I think that was enough time anyway. All right. So, in terms of alpha, same process. We'll get it out to you. Get us your feedback. We'll have a feedback form. And yeah, you're just interested to know your thoughts. But we just want to give you an opportunity to play and have a bit of fun with each other, and kind of help us take this in the best possible direction we can. Really keen to get that out. So, will be an update on that next week. What else? Okay. Next item for discussion is Zuckbot migration. We said we were going to wait on the ETH upgrade. The ETH upgrade happened yesterday, so our devs are now testing the various functions to see if there are, any room for improvement, optimizations, and efficiency on that. They'll be doing that over the course of today and tomorrow. Contracts are ready. We've got two ways of which we can go about this. One is a migration by which you'd essentially, and this is my very basic of this, which essentially you would not issue a function, but actually, I'll lose my train of thought here. So you essentially have to process a transaction that would burn your original Zuckbot and then actually give you the new Zuckbot on the new contract. That will actually cost gas. So I want to come back to that in a sec. And then the other option is, and that will cost gas on the individual. The other option is an airdrop where essentially we'd airdrop all Zuckbots to a new contract to the holders that have them and remove the metadata from the existing contract and have the contract delisted, the existing one, so everybody's on the new one. There's pros and cons of actually both. One will cost gas, but it means that you are effectively burning and removing from one contract to the other. The other one means essentially both contracts will continue to exist, and we'd have to remove the metadata from the old one. In terms of gas charges, airdrop would be something that the airdropper, which would be us, would pay the transaction charges for. And then in the event of actually a migration, which would be the individual would have to take charge for, would be a gas charge to them. What these gas charges look like, we're going to find out over the course of the testing that's going to happen today and tomorrow. So we'll give you more information on that. And in terms of if it's a gas charge on the individual and migration, we've got a couple of options around that in terms of refunding. One of the options, again, I'm just tabling this for discussion. I want to hear thoughts on this. One of the options could be to have the gas charge reversed and this is all going to be on chain, right? So we'll have the on chain data around what the gas has cost. It could be to have it reversed in carrots on token generation event at an actual bonus to the gas charge you would pay in ETH at a favorable market cap or kind of considered price in advance. So that's an option there. So there's two options essentially, and then there's an option about how repay the gas charge and actually give you a bonus on top of that as well to just look after you in terms of the inconvenience and also give you a bit of value back on top of that. I'm just dropping that out there right now. We will know what the charges are around there. We will know again based on that and the discussion we have with you which direction we want to go in, whether it's airdrop or actual migration. And then kind of discuss the process or any actions that need to be taken as a result of that. But in terms of the indications we're getting from the devs, we will be ready to go with either option we choose the week after next. So again, I want to table that with you all right now in terms of out of those options that are brought to the table, which ones do you feel more comfortable with? And again, I want you to reflect on them. Which will you feel more comfortable with, and how receptive are you to having your transactions reverted to in carrots on token generation event at a bonus and at a favorable rate? Crickets.
I guess
Where we go for it, Paul?
I'd almost prefer if it was airdropped, and the reason for that is just to kind of have it done and over with versus waiting for everything to get migrated over. Making the user actually go and burn the token to get the new one. That could drag on for months, if not longer. I'd rather we just kind of got it done and over with.
Okay, understood. Any other opinions on this?
I agree with that. It sounds like the least complicated option. And some people have like hundreds of Zuckbots and parts at this point, so it's kind of for them that would be a hassle if they're paying gas for all that.
Yeah, I think the gas in terms of batch. I think we've got batch transaction gas, so I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be. Let's say, for instance, it was $10. I don't think it's going to be if you've got 10 holdings, 10 times 10, so $100 for gas. But I want to ensure that the devs go through the exercise and we understand completely what that is. However, that's two for airdrop right now. Open to other opinions if anyone wants to jump on. If not, just gather your thoughts in the chat and we'll be watching.
I was just going to say with Emerson's comment, there are some holders that may have basically they've got no ETH left, right? And they're pretty much all in on bots or hooligans, so it might be very tough for them to migrate.
Understood. All right. Sounds like there's a strong push so far on the airdrop side. All right, good to know. I wanted to have a discussion and I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Okay. I think that's about everything we wanted to cover. Is there anything else we've not touched on here, or anything else that's of concern or a matter for feedback? Please let us know. And if there's anything aches that's coming up in chat that we've not managed to put a handle on yet because I've not been looking at chat, feel free to jump up and let us know. Here he is, Aches, the legend Aches. All right. Okay. Let's put us on the spot then. Let's see. Let's see what we can do.
Let's go.
Do I have the ability to deny answering some of them? Ah, interesting. Interesting. Is it, what do you call it in the States? Is it pleading the fifth? Is that what it is?
It is called pleading the fifth.
Oh, there you go. Pleading the fifth. All right, go for it, Ace.
Right to remain.
At this particular moment in time, very likely the carrot's open.
Yeah.
Yes, so that should be now in the reflected roadmap on the orange paper, which is available on the website. The things that we do need to add there is the plan around Zuckbots as well. It's still on the roadmap for phase 2. I can't provide any other details at this particular moment in time, unfortunately. And that's because things can change. It's definitely our intention. We want to do it. We just, in terms of exactly what it looks like, I think we're a bit premature to be offering all that information right now. I can't answer that personally. So just, we need to check in with Dev. That's something that's being worked up in parallel. A lot of the priority in terms of resources is, as we mentioned before, it's really on getting the beta ready for launch. That doesn't mean that the Zuckbots minigame is on a back burner. It's still in works in parallel. It just means there's a couple of things happening at once, and more resources are currently deployed just for pure transparency on actually getting the beta of the game out. But that doesn't mean the Zuckbots game isn't coming out. That's probably why we were a bit hesitant to put a date on it in the first place. We want to ensure that if we do put a date on that, we're able to hit it and it comes off really well, and is actually something that is also an enjoyable experience. So let me get back to you on that, but it's still in the works. One of the things that we are, and I've said this before, is sharing a bit more information on that, and some more behind the scenes of how development's progressing there. I know the lucky individuals who got to come to the studio saw a bit more on that, and thankfully we're quite impressed, given we've not put enough out on that. So let's get more information there. Hold us to account on that, please, Eggs. Yeah, that's something that we need to make good on as well. Initially we did say it'd be based on. I don't think we said it'd be based on the mint date in particular, because what we didn't want to do is essentially not look after individuals, because a lot of people would have bought in the first 2 months at whatever the floor price was then, which would have been over 1 ETH. We don't want to essentially say you guys and gals are not qualified for this, even though they've contributed and invested a lot of money. So yes, but when it starts from, we will let you know. But we need to make good on that for sure. And again, it wasn't, from what I recall, it wasn't a stackable bonus. It was, if you didn't have any of the other bonuses applied, you'd be eligible for it. So yes, let's get to shipping on that as well, Wes. The Zuckbot 3D files, in terms of the FBX files, I mean, the last conversation I had, I believe we're in a very good position on that. So, Wes, I don't know if you've got any more on that.
I do. I know that the last conversation I had with Colin and the team on that, we're actually pretty far along there. We just need to, I think we probably need to package them up and just get a clear, just deploy strategy to you guys, and we can hit some dates there. But I don't think that we're too far off. I'd say probably within a couple weeks, maybe a month, to give us a little wiggle room, just considering what we're trying to do with the game at the moment. But that's probably a realistic expectation set.
Yeah, there you go. Definitely want to get those out as well. I can see some good content coming forward in there. The Zuckbots are really important to our ecosystem. And you know what? We need to definitely show the Zuckbots a bit more love. I mean, we were giving them so much love, but I think with with the contract migration, it's really slowed us down in terms of, you know, what we want to do with the Zuckbots and the content we had around it. We've still got like a couple of episodes of the saga that we've not deployed. We've still got more, you know, saga episodes to come. Like, you know, I really freaking enjoyed those sagas, and with the Zuckbot migration and that stopping, it's kind of like took us off that path a bit. But I want to get back to it. I want to get more of that story related content out there. It was fun. Like, we had a whole story going, and that's what we do. That's what we're great at, and I want to get that done. So there's already a couple of episodes in the can for us to get out once the contract goes live again. Was that Sky? I don't know. Sky? Me? Yeah. So that again, that's something with legal as well. We're working through. When can you have info raising the Series A fundraising results? I will connect back with the team on that, and it's likely if we do publish something like that, it will also be published publicly via a press release. You know, given there's still investment rounds available and being worked on, we're not in a position to put that out yet. So when everything's closed off, it is likely when there'll be a press release on the matter. So we never. That's something we need to cover. Actually, I should have spoken about here. We've not said we're going to move. We're not said we're going to move everything to Polygon. We said we'd like to discuss it with the community, and in fact, we've probably run out of time to discuss it today. But I'm interested in understanding, you know, how the community would feel about us migrating to Polygon. It won't take much longer to do. It's only a few more lines of code. But I'm actually interested to, you know, would the community think it's a good play for the Zuckbots, a bad play? You know, do we feel it might, you know, affect things? I don't necessarily think it's a bad play. You know, given we are going to be using Polygon as layer 2 for a lot of the in-game stuff, and you know, we're building. By now, everybody's assumed, so you know, it's not so much of a leak that you'll be able to use the parts to build the series of other bots, of which there are 4, I think, and then there's the Z Combinator as well. So you know, it will save by actually migrating to Polygon. It'll make that process a lot more efficient and cheaper on transactions, especially when you're using parts and burning parts and burning items and creating new ones. So there are benefits to going to Polygon. We can do it. I think it's not a bad play, but at the same time, I don't want to do and commit to anything or say we're going to do it without, you know, hearing how the community feels about it. But if we are going to do that, and you know the community feels strongly about it or not strongly about it, we need to come to a decision on that before we migrate over the Zuckbots. So, in terms of that, we could very easily have some form of poll and understand how the community as a collective feel about it. Would you be open to a poll? Would you be open to discussing it right now? Let me know your thoughts. Now, the only pushback to us, I think a lot of community members are in favour and a lot weren't, based on, you know, the general thought that, you know, Ethereum is generally seen as, you know, the chain where most of volume for NFT activity happens, and Polygon not as much. So, you know, there may be a fear in terms of visibility of the collection. But, you know, a lot of times, given, you know, where OpenSea's at and where some of these other marketplaces are at, and actually us creating our own marketplace, you know, we can essentially, you know, negate some of that. So everything's still visible, everything's still transactable in other tokens as well. So it's not necessarily, I don't think we'll be affected by that side of things. Ultimately, it's a decision on whether we feel the collection should live on Ethereum or should live on Polygon and have, you know, more efficiency and optimization. I will also say that we're not considering putting the others on Polygon. The others will still, at this stage, be an ERC 721 token. So yeah, I think maybe a poll might be the best way to go about that. So let X again hold us to account in terms of getting the poll out ASAP before we kind of go through to migration as well. X is our manager now, by the way. Right, so you can bridge it back and forth. I'm no dev. I understand that you can bridge assets, but let me check in with the devs on that.
Yeah, we'd have to check in. My guess is we would probably make a decision, have one or the other. But I'll let the devs answer that question.
Yeah, I believe you can do that. So yeah, let me get real clarity on that before I sign up to anything. Yeah, I know. How much is that? I need to get that. I need to get some carrots.
$10 or something.
I hope Spotify pay for. I hope Spotify will take carrots in the future. Yeah, no, I definitely do. I didn't know it was a thing actually. I've got the family and friends Netflix one, but I definitely need to get the Spotify one. Dude, it's expensive out in LA. Got to save costs where I can. Okay, I think that was a good session. I hope it was recorded. I think you did record it, so feel free to share that to anybody who wasn't able to listen. I think it was a great session. We're going to collate all the feedback, and where we can, we're going to take some action and reflect what action we've taken back to the community once done. But I hope that was useful for everybody. I hope we were able to provide clarity on a lot of things and changes. And like I said, dude, this is going to be a great year for us. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so pumped.
Absolutely.
And like there's a hell of a lot of positivity in some of the updates we've given you. So I hope individuals from the community can see a lot of wisdom in the approach that we're taking and the alignments and partnerships that we're making. Like, we really want to push as hard as we can to make My Pet Hooligan not only the game but the brand, IP, and everything around the ecosystem a success. And I think we've got one of the best chances in this industry to be able to do so. And I also know everybody's attention is turning to Web3 gaming right now, especially within the NFT and collectibles world. So the narrative is coming our way, and everybody, even from the big OG foundations, know that gaming is going to be one of the true drivers for more adoption into Web3. So we're completely on the right path. We're in a very good position. We've got great backing, and I think we can really make a powerful statement this year. So it's been a good conversation, and I'm slightly. I think we've been running for 2 hours. I hope I've done well for 2 hours. I hope I've maintained the same level of energy from the start to end. But I do want to say, like, I'm personally, there's a lot of bullish news in that paper, and I'm personally very bullish on what we can do with the game products and the token and attention that we're going to get on this. So thank you all for being part of this journey with us. Thank you all for everything we do. Again, just a friendly reminder, like, strong community. We've got a lot of holders. I want to see as much engagement as possible on everything we do, because that's ultimately important as well. If anybody's looking from the outside, they look at metrics like that. They look at where's the engagement at, how's the community going. Investors or partners who want to get involved. Yeah, the My Pet Hooligan community is great. It's strong. They're always engaging in what's going on. That's what we want individuals from the outside to see, and that's what we're all about as a community. And I want to definitely get some of those vibes going again, because that's what makes us really strong. And there's nobody out there that's touching a lot of stuff we're doing, and we're going to keep ensuring that we're at this elevated position with things. That's all I've got to say. I've done 2 hours straight out coming out of the doctor's appointment as well. So you got to big me up as well. I got to get some love. Any emojis for me right now? I'm feeling like I need some love right now. All right, who
Appreciate it. I don't think there's emojis.
There's no emojis.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you all. Obi, any final words from you? You can sign us off then, and then sign us off with some MC Hammer as well.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm glad that we got a couple callbacks of I can't touch this in here. But no, ultimately, guys, really appreciate you guys spending time with us to go through everything. We really do value your input on this, especially when when we need to kind of reach consensus together. So Skyhopper, as always, man, you fucking crushed on this. Pardon me for swearing, but really do appreciate you guys. I know I'm a little low energy right now, so I got to kind of keep moving around. So I appreciate you guys immensely. Thank you for doing this with us.
Obi, we need a hula hoo from you, man.
Let's go.
All right. I hope you didn't scare your dog. All right. Thank you all. Much love to absolutely everybody here. Let's freaking smash this year, honestly, together. Let's fucking go. Sorry to swear. But nobody can take this down. Actually, it's our own Discord. In fact, let's swear. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Goodbye.
Fucking love you all. Appreciate you guys.